It's time for the podcast. Yeah, the podcast is starting.
What's a podcast?
It's all gonna be alright in the end. It's gonna be alright. And if you've got some worries, my dear little friends, please rest your busy minds, because it's finally time for stories from now and then.
Hey kids, welcome back to Stories from Here and There. My name's Captain Blunderface, and... Oh, I said Stories from Here and There? Oh, I'm sorry. Hey kids, welcome back to Tales from Near and... Oh, what is it again? Hey kids, welcome back to Stories from My Grandpa's Workshop? No. Hey kids, welcome back to Anecdotes from Around the Water Cooler? Oh no, I can't remember. Hey kids, welcome back to Stories from Corey and Tori's lorries full of morning glories on their way to the quarry? Oh, good idea. Can you just put the theme song back on the record player? Yeah, thanks. Just hit play at the end there.
Stories from now and then.
Oh, that's right. Stories from now and then. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. It's Captain Blunderface here with Deprecatus here in the old library. Deprecatus and I are just watering the flower pots near the windows. Before we start today's story, we have a shout out for Anna in Vancouver, British Columbia. Anna loves playing with her little baby brother Henry. Anna, this story is for you. Oh, and it looks like we just got a message from our sponsor. Perfect timing. Today's episode is sponsored by Guest Getter. They help restaurants bring in guests and keep them coming back, which is great because I personally forget where I'd like to eat unless someone reminds me. Guest Getter helps restaurants do that, but on purpose. Check them out at guestgetter.co. And with that, Deprecatus and I will keep watering these flowers as we hand it off and listen to the amazing Nicola for today's story.
Now, I don't know how you feel, but I think it's high time we had a love story. We've got a classic story today. It's a lovely story about love, but it's not love at first sight. Of course, there are many different kinds of love, so I want you to pay attention and see what different kinds of love you can spot in this story. This is the story of the Beauty and the Beast. Once upon a time, there was a merchant, now that is a salesman, who had 3 daughters, and he loved them more than anything. Now, one day, he had to go on a long journey to buy some goods, and when he was about to set off, he said to them, "What gifts would you like me to bring back for you, my dears?" And the eldest daughter asked to have a necklace, and the second daughter wished to have a gold bracelet. But the youngest daughter said, "Just bring back yourself safe and sound, father. That is what I want the most." "Nonsense, child," said her father. "You must tell me something that I can remember to bring back for you." "Well," she said, "bring me back a rose, father." So the merchant went on his journey and did his business and bought a pearl necklace for his eldest daughter and a gold bracelet for his second daughter. But he knew it was no use getting a rose for the youngest while he was so far away, because it would wilt before he got home. So he decided to wait until he was almost home before he got a rose so that it would be fresh for when he arrived. When all of his merchanting work was done, he rode off home, and he almost forgot all about the rose until he was nearly at his house. Then he suddenly remembered what he had promised his youngest daughter, and he looked about to see if he could find a rose. Just near where he had stopped, he saw a great garden, and getting off his horse, he wandered about in it till he found a lovely rose bush, and he plucked the most beautiful rose he could see on it. At that moment, he heard a crash like thunder, and looking around, he saw a huge monster. 2 tusks in his mouth and fiery eyes surrounded by bristles and horns coming out of its head and spreading over its back. "Mortal," said the beast, "who told you that you may pluck my roses?" "Please, sir," said the merchant in fear and terror. "I promised my daughter to bring her home a rose and forgot about it till the last moment, and then I saw your beautiful garden and I thought you would not miss a single rose, or else I would have asked your permission."
"Stealing is stealing," said the beast. "Whether it be a rose or a diamond, your life is forfeit."
The merchant fell on his knees and begged for his life for the sake of his 3 daughters, who had no one but him to look after them.
"Well, mortal, well," said the beast. "I spare your life on one condition. 7 days from now, you must bring this youngest daughter of yours, for whose sake you have broken into my garden, and leave her here in place of you. Otherwise, promise that you will return and hand yourself over to me."
So the merchant promised, and, taking his rose, mounted his horse and rode home. As soon as he got into his house, his daughters came rushing round him, clapping their hands and celebrating his return. And he gave the necklace to his eldest daughter, the bracelet to his second daughter, and then he gave the rose to his youngest, and as he gave it, he sighed. "Oh, thank you, father," they all cried. But the youngest said, "Why did you sigh so deeply when you gave me my rose?"
"Later on I will tell you," said the merchant.
So for several days they were happy together, though the merchant wandered about gloomy and sad, and nothing his daughters could do would cheer him up, till at last he took his youngest daughter aside and said to her, "Belle, you know that I love you. It is time that I tell you what happened on my journey home." And then he told her of all that had occurred with the beast when he got the rose for her. Belle was very sad, as you can imagine, but then she said, "Oh, father, it was all because of me that you went into the garden of this beast. So I will go with you to him. Perhaps he will do me no harm, but even if he does, better to me than to my dear father." So the next day the merchant took Belle with him on his horse, and they rode off to the dwelling of the beast. And when they got there, and they alighted from the horse, the doors of the house opened, and what do you think they saw there? Nothing. So they went up the steps, and went through the hall, and went into the dining room, and there they saw a table spread with all kinds of beautiful glasses and plates and dishes, with wonderful foods and drinks upon it. So they waited and they waited, thinking that the owner of the house would appear, until at last the merchant said, "Let's sit down and see what will happen then." And when they sat down, invisible hands passed them things to eat and to drink, and they ate and drank to their heart's content. And when they got up from the table, it got up too, and disappeared through the door as if it were being carried by invisible servants. Suddenly there appeared before them the beast, who said to the merchant, "Is this your youngest daughter?" And when he had said that it was, he said, "Is she willing to stay here with me?" And then he looked at Belle, who said, in a trembling voice, "Yes, sir." "Very well. No harm shall come to you." With that, he led the merchant down to his horse and told him he may come back in a week to visit his daughter. Then the beast returned to Belle and said to her, "This house, with all that is in it, is your home now. If you desire anything, clap your hands and say the word, and it shall be brought to you." And with that he made a sort of bow and went away. So Belle stayed in the home with the beast, and was waited on by invisible servants, and had whatever she liked to eat and to drink. But she soon got tired of being alone, and the next day when the beast came to her, even though he looked so ugly and scary, she didn't feel so afraid of him, because she had been treated so well. So they talked together about the garden and about the house and about her father's business and about all kinds of things until Belle lost her fear of the beast altogether. Shortly afterwards, her father came to see her and found her quite happy, and he felt much less worried about her staying at the home of the beast. And so it went on for many days, Belle seeing and talking to the beast every day until she began to quite like him. But one day, just after lunchtime, which was the time the beast usually came to talk with Belle, he did not show up. Belle was worried, and she wandered about the garden trying to find him, calling out for him, but receiving no reply. At last she came to the rose bush, from which her father had plucked the rose, and there, under it, what do you think she saw? The beast was lying on the ground, not moving at all. Then Belle was so sad as she thought about how good and kind the beast had been to her. And she dropped to the ground and cried out, "Oh, beast, beast, please don't die. I was getting to love you so much." No sooner had she said this than the hide of the beast split in two, and out came the most handsome young prince, who told her that he had been under a spell, and that he could only become a prince again if a woman would, of her own accord, declare that she loved him. Immediately, the prince sent word for Belle's family to join them, and he was married to Belle, and they all lived happily together for a very long time. Wasn't that a lovely love story? It definitely wasn't love at first sight. But what kinds of love did you see in the story? There was the love of family, of course, the father's love for his daughter and the daughter's love for her father. And then there was the love that grew between Belle and the beast. She was frightened of him at first because he looked so scary, but underneath he was very kind to her. Sometimes love comes along quietly like that, slowly and gradually, until you realize that you never want to be apart from that person. I'm sure there are lots of different kinds of love in your life. Perhaps take a moment this week to stop and look and notice all the love around you.
Thank you, Nicola, for that wonderful reminder. I've got to say, I'm feeling a lot of love toward Deprecatus right now for kind of making sure the intro went smoothly. Thanks, buddy. Remember, if you'd like to get a shout out and have a story dedicated to you or someone you know, we'd love to hear from you on Instagram @storiesfromnowandthen. Send us a DM, and you could get one in a future episode. Stories from Now and Then is narrated by Nicola Ward, music by Captain Blunderface, and Captain Blunderface played by Evan Wiebe. Deprecatus is played by... What's that, Deprecatus? It's confidential information? You're saying I'm not allowed to disclose the magic behind Deprecatus? You're saying I signed an NDA that explicitly states that the identity of Deprecatus...
Stories from Now and Then.